welcome to the first Unfunk Your Marketing Live of 2026. I'm Ob, your Chief Cultivator here at Dandelion Branding, where we make sustainability part of mainstream conversation by sharing sustainability stories you don't want to miss on the Environmental with Dandelion podcast. And I'm also here on the other Mondays, like this one, to give you marketing insights you need to help you tell your sustainability story better. Here's a quick note though. I think I'm gonna move them to Wednesdays because Mondays are like really busy and crazy. So just if that works better for you, let me know in the comments. I've got Puer tea today in honor of the funky vibes outside in the Netherlands. And of course, I have some tea for you because it's time to report on what actually happened in your sustainable brand in 2025. Hmm? And if you caught last week's environmental podcast, you know that I'm sitting here questioning whether the environmental movement is failing. And you also know that I think that growing businesses in the social and environmental sectors is the one major way we're going to change that. We can't stop, guys. We cannot let lobbyists and intentional progress stallers win. So here's what we're going to do. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to start by setting our baseline right now. We're going to look back at 2025 and we're going to use any failings to create real actionable goals. And when we're done with this live, you check out the link in our description because there's a template for you to like report those to your board or your team or whoever you report or yourself. I like to do it for myself. Now I go through this stuff pretty quick. So if you have any questions, drop them in the chat and I will answer them throughout or at the end or kind of whatever works. I'm going to break this into two parts. Part one is what to actually include, and part two is tips for the report. So I want to let's start with must-haves for the sections in your presentation itself. This is so that you know exactly what information to pull. Number one, traffic statistics. Where's all that energy going? You have to cover website traffic. How did it change? Did it change in 2025? It's so important to know where your audience came from so you can identify where to put your energy and your budget in 2026. You want to look at direct traffic, organic traffic, and social media traffic more than it, unless you do ads, then you want to look at that. And here's a little secret on your report. Share the queries that people use to find you organically. It can be pretty funny, and it also builds this little like pocket of excitement for the people you're talking to, and it offers a moment of breath and some insight into what you can focus on optimizing later. So it's like an immediate little goal. Even if in your marketing, here's number two is sales. You've got to talk sales number. Not only is it vital to show that your marketing helps improve sales directly, this is going to help you keep your job. It's going to show everybody that marketing is actually an asset. And this is especially true if you can correlate your campaigns like emails or a specific post type with traffic and sales. Number three is you want to defend your ecosystem. So you want to create direct correlations. Check out website growth outside or elsewhere. Did your email marketing grow? Did your strategy drive people toward the action you wanted them to take? Here's another really cool thing is to share your email campaign subject lines based on open and click rate. So it's kind of like knowing those top searches, but it's like knowing what your biggest, most engaged fans are actually interested in learning. And in the social media world, share follower growth only because people really love that, but mention it as a vanity metric most of the time. You want to show them an increase in engagement or traffic from social media in addition to that. You want to add photos of your top posts. It's another one of those nice breaths that helps you create a moment of beauty and remind people of the purpose that you're sharing every day. Now, before we jump into part two, I'm going to remind you that you can download a template for this at the link in the description. There's also like a blog article that shares all the information there. Also, if you like it so far, please hit that like button. It makes a big difference for the algorithm. Anyway, part two, tips on creating your report. So because your team is busy and really nobody wants to read 15 pages. Nobody wants to read 15. Well, I mean, maybe you're direct to, I would like it, but for most people it's boring. They want this upbeat, they want the real strategy. This is why I kind of included those pro tips earlier about like those little breaths and the beautiful things that you're working on. Here's another one. Use the full picture. Deep dive into the womp womp womp. It's hard, but it's vital. You want to don't just share the good stuff. Um, it's a hard thing, but the good stuff by itself isn't ever the whole picture. The point of a marketing report isn't to justify your existence, it's to know what is doing well and what could be better. It's to ask questions and find answers to use as the raw material for your 2026 growth strategy. That said, when you do share bad news or a downward trend, your first job is to explain why. There's always something to learn from it, and it might not even be a bad thing. Like, it could be a sign of a different type of success, right? Think about it this way. So, we had a client whose average email open rate dropped from 60% to 45% over a year. Looks negative, but here's why it's not. It's because they gained a big, huge number of email subscribers. So they moved a small group of like crazy, extremely active users to a big group of above average users. They didn't need extremely active subscribers. They need a successful retention strategy, which is exactly what we built. So you want to explain the context of something. And when it is bad, use the reason why as fodder for how to make a change moving forward. Number two, biggest tip, make it easy to digest. I mentioned this earlier. We keep it to the headline, the plan, the long report. Your direct supervisor is the only one that needs to see your big stuff. Keep your presentation to the most important questions, the hypotheses, and actionable data. And when you give your presentation, think about how to offer quotable information. You can do it by repeating the same phrases or giving intentional emphasis. The important thing for a presentation here is that it's easy to walk away feeling hopeful. Number three is be specific in your language. So in sustainability, this is already an important thing because your language in sustainability is more and more watched. But when you're setting KPIs and sharing data, you need to be using the same terminology throughout the report. It's super easy to confuse things, especially if you don't live in the data world like you and I do. Getting terminology mixed up can lead to frustration, it can lead to confusion. And the main tip I have is just don't get creative with your KPI language. Keep it clear. It shows trust. It proves that you're on the same side. Okay? Okay, awesome. We did it. That's your tips. Now it's time for the payoff because that's what I said we're going to do here is set goals. This is a crucial piece of information for your any report is you don't want to just share the facts. You want to plan. What are you going to do about that data? Of course, you're going to continue to do the stuff that works, obviously. But here's where that bad stuff is actually good stuff comes in. Those are the opportunities. Knowing what's working means that you get to get creative, and knowing what's not working means you get to get even more creative with your goals. So this is how you gain the upper hand here, how you prove your worth just in this by itself. Come prepared with those growth solutions, not just the facts. Look at the facts and then come prepared with the solutions. This is a serious sign of leadership, not just information about what that's already happened. That's it. You're ready to rock. If you need some help putting your report together, don't forget to get your template down in the description. Thanks so much for joining the first on Frontier Marketing Live of 2026. This year, we're going to stop those intentional progress scholars by setting clear baseline and strategic goals. And you're going to become predictable, powerful. You're going to be unpushable. All right. In the next on Frontier Marketing Live, we're going to talk about how to pass a greenwashing sniff test for your customers and your potential customers. And if you liked this, and only if you liked it, because we're honest here, hit that like button in the video, subscribe, because we're people powering growth. And I will see you next time.